All right. All right. All right. What up, Bloods? Today we answer the question: is Chopper the MIR of Russia? That's what we need to find out. This is a match where Chopper, the young mountain man, is here right here in the picture that we can see, ended up getting 35 fucking frags versus Liquid and beating them 16-14. Vegas Squadron are moving on to the goddamn real major. I know this is the major, but they're moving on to the real major, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. I haven't watched this game yet, but I am definitely passionately curious about figuring out if this kid is the real deal or not. I mean, honestly, the focal point of this team was MIR for a lot of people, and for good reason. He was absolutely astounding on land for the first time a lot of people had seen them play. An interesting stat about this team, though, is that they haven't made a roster change in about a year and a half, which makes them the second longest standing professional roster in Counter-Strike, in CSGO, behind, obviously, Virtus Pro, which is a pretty fucking impressive, you know? I mean, honestly, a year and a half doesn't sound like a long time, but when you consider the fact that people are changing rosters more than underwear, then yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, that's a bunch of seasons of online leagues that they've survived, a whole bunch of losses that they've survived, and this team's actually made quite a bit of money. I think if we look at their Wikipedia, it's something like 70K or something really good for the amount of time that they've played, and for a team that has a logo that looks like it's from the 70s, recolorized. And has got a bunch of players that most people had not heard of until, obviously, MIR made his appearance on LAN. But Chopper also, you know, all these guys are actually pretty fucking good. So let's take a look at MIR, or Chopper, excuse me, and see if we can crack the code on this guy. I wonder what it is about him that makes him so good. I think one thing about Vegas Squadron as a unit, or as a squadron, that makes them so good is that they play just as aggressively in high pressure situations on LAN as they probably do in scrims, and because I've heard they play very aggressively in scrims, and that for me would be a big question. It's like, are you willing to play that style in a match? Do it in a match, right? As we say in North America. That's a fucking fantastic frag. Instant headshots, 2 of them right there to end the round. Easy, good stuff. So obviously, you know, mechanics are on point. This guy's feeling sharp, right? You can tell right away just by where that first bullet goes. If he's hitting the headshots immediately, that's obviously a good sign. And you don't get 35 kills unless you're feeling really fucking good and you start off right. And it's you know, part of that is just a limitation of the amount of rounds you have to kill people, right? You can only get so many multi-kill rounds. Even if you are the best player in the server, you're not necessarily going to get 35 kills on that day. There's too many variables involved. You know, it could be how good the other team is. It could be, are you in the right spots? Does your position allow for a lot of frags? You know, are you the guy who lurks palace every round and your team decides never to go A? You know, there's so many defining factors. So now we can see that he's kind of with the middle of the pack at mid. And that's going to play a huge role in how many kills he gets. It is the anti-eco, so we might not see this position be the same in other rounds. Something interesting about the team in general right now is that they've left the A push completely open, but they also don't have anyone pushing. Chopper right here is taking first contact. He hasn't gotten all the way into connector, but as we can see, he's creeping into the stairs. It's actually really important that you crouch right there just because of the amount of angles that you reduce when it comes to ticket and triple and stuff like that as you creep up, because you're trying to clear that little left side nook in the connector. And yeah, now that they're able to exploit on the A side, I'm not a big fan of going mid on anti-ecos personally. I think that is a bad idea. I've seen a lot of rounds lost because of it. And I have definitely casted more pro games than any of these guys have watched, so I feel very comfortable in saying that that is most of the time losing strategy, especially if the other team knows that you're going to do it. But in this circumstance, it works for them, so you know what? Let them do their thing, because it is also something that a lot of teams do for some reason. Probably because you have like a perfect anti-eco or like a best anti-eco that you can use on every map, or your favorite that doesn't involve going to dangerous parts of the map, but you can't always use them, right? Like Mirage, for example, teams like to stack A. Why they like to stack A? Sometimes people stack A simply because it's closer. That's not a joke. If we look at the spawns here, this actually factors into where people want to go. Let's just stack A. The other thing is that it's a easier, faster rush for the T's. So there ends up being a lot of action at A just because it's closer. You know, that actually matters. And so going into Eco, rushing B with 5 players is actually a pretty fucking good idea. And therefore so would stacking. But that's not going to happen every round. That's not going to happen every round. And if every team knew what the other team was doing, then you'd end up in the situation where it's 5 players running to a stack side every round. You can't have that. So you've got to change it up. And you've also got to go against your demo reviewable content as a team. If you know that the other team has studied you, you're going to think about that. You're going to think, where are they going to stack based on where we've been, and change accordingly. Now, Chopper is the guy in Palace. As we talked about in the previous round, the anti-eco, he is the guy in Palace holding for pushes. Will he be this guy every round? Seeing this setup does make me think that he will be the lurker, but I don't know. Maybe things will change. Oh, it's actually looking pretty fucking grim here as the bomb gets dropped. Chopper now has a big job on his hands. He's got to decide, do I hold for the push? Do I wait for my teammates? Do I go back, try to recover the bomb myself, bring it back to mid? All these variables, as his team is also giving him information, and then they have decided to just grab the bomb together. Liquid have fucked off, and now they can kind of decide, all right, well, we're 3 to 5, so even though Liquid gave us the bomb, that didn't really give us much of an advantage. We've still got to clear stuff out, pretend that they're always waiting around every corner. That works in Liquid's favor. And Liquid have actually made the gamble read to go B, which is quite interesting. And this kind of plays into being confident as a terrorist on LAN, I guess you could say, because it looks like it's very unlikely they win this, right? But they decided to go A, and it was kind of a big dick play to do this. Liquid could have stayed at A, but they tried to go a couple levels deep. And now we have a CT setup. This is not a bad setup. In this situation with the bomb down, this is not a bad setup at all. Like, let's take a look at Kashander here. So they can watch each other's backs. There's 2 angles they have between them. Well, there's like multiple angles within that, but like generally speaking, Chopper has everything cut off, and so does Kashander. Now there are 4 players left, but the guns aren't amazing. And they aren't amazing for Kashander either, but he also has head armor. A couple players on Liquid have head armor. This might not be that bad of a retake. There's also a smoke and a Molotov. If Zeus is a good boy right here, he's going to throw that into CT. He's going to use... See, listen, he doesn't know that CT is where they've pushed to, but it is going to be one of a couple spots that he will assume. So he's either going to... He's going to throw a Molotov somewhere, maybe Palace, and then a smoke CT, or vice versa. Since they're coming in, as we can see, since they're coming in from here, and whatever, A ramp. So Zeus might come out A ramp. I don't know if they'll wait for him. And at this point, we'll launch something this way, either smoke a Molotov. Makes more sense to throw a smoke than a Molotov, because you can always stand behind a Molotov and shoot in, and then maybe use the Molotov for Palace, unless he goes Palace himself, in which case he'll be worried about A ramp. So let's see how it plays out, and we'll see how Chopper deals with it as well. Hopefully this does become a close round, because I'm actually curious if they can pull this off on frags alone. And there's some good damage dealt by Chopper. They spotted 1 player. That's going to play hugely into this. The smoke goes down. It's a really good smoke, actually, because the left side of it is not that useful. Chopper tries to do some extra damage. Chandra actually denies the bomb plant, or the defuse, should I say, and there it is, the headshot onto Zeus. No time left to pull that bomb apart, and Chopper wins the round for Vegas Squadron. Not sure how to analyze that. He got very lucky with that shot. The headshot can't be accounted for. You know what I mean? You throw that smoke down, you think you've... I think the only thing was the smoke wasn't perfect, which Zeus could have used Alicia's CT lineup, smoke for CT lineup that Alicia actually did on his stream, and it was posted on Reddit. And if he knew about that, would have been a perfect CT smoke. There would have been no points of reference to hit that spam from. But at the same time, Chopper's muscle memory is probably good enough to have his gun spray in the general direction. He got a little lucky. All right, he got a little lucky. They won the whole round. Now this game's really close. Vegas Squadron win, so I was actually trying to find solace in that for Liquid, but that actually just makes it worse. So I'm just going to shut up now and talk about this round, the rifle round, round 5. Liquid have a pretty standard setup. Chopper has moved to A ramp. He's got a teammate with him as well, which doesn't tell us much because we know that the bomb is very stationary and very far from everybody, meaning that we can tell that Vegas Squadron wanted. We'll focus on mid control right here, play the round out, try to get map control, and then think about something based on picks or information. Minute up and Liquid having one smoke. Chopper gets owned. That's a rifle round. Chopper gets his food eaten right away. So that was the collapse of Vegas Squadron instantly. Surprising.
Throwing smoke.
Certainly JR doesn't win that. Liquid close the round out. And now we move into round 6. Chopper once again. Rifle, full grenades. And Liquid got to be feeling pretty good about that fact. They blew around and then they came out with one that was super clean. Vegas money is actually quite low, and so this is the making of a very exciting match. If I was casting, that's a story, that's a narrative I'd be drawing. That's how I'd be trying to excite the fans. Most people are working the way over to B. Nitro gets an early kill at mid with the M4 by himself. That's a huge L for Vegas Squadron. And we'll see what Chopper and friends does with this. Excuse me. Getting beer burps. They're gonna execute right through the smoke. Whoa, that's a fucking sick entry right there. They don't know if there's another person in here, but clearly Chopper is worried about it. Nitro shoots him in the side after waiting a good amount of time, and there's one kill for the kid on the entry. Entry fragging is a role that you're gonna have to do sometimes, but no one's ever a real dedicated entry fragger most of the time because it's touch and go. You know, you get some info, and if you're in front, and you'll also just be the entry fragger, even if you're not necessarily that guy. A lot of times IGLs end up being the entry fragger because since they're shot calling and they put themselves in positions to like pick a site, they're also sometimes leading, and then they end up going first. It's, you know, they're all roles, but it's very loosely defined. It's not something that is set in stone, and it's really important actually that you have the versatility to play 2 or 3 roles on a team. You know, not everybody has to op, but maybe everybody has to entry, even the opper. We got a match pause called because a player dropped Kashender. Transforms to bot Allen. Let's get this moving, okay? Because this is a one take video. I can't be sitting here. I mean, I think I can hit next round actually. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good. I like that. That's a pretty big save from the demo UI. What the fuck was that? Oh my god! Just a pre-fire into the jungle smoke. Jesus Christ! The man has a family.
Throwing flashbang.
Okay. Vegas Squadron called the timeout because Liquid actually picked that round up, even though Chopper had that really insane entry where he just spammed the smoke. Looking at this is surprising how Chopper will get so many kills in this game. That's what's kind of blowing my mind right now, even considering that this round's a save as well. So he's just a late game hero. Can I just say that is my favorite fucking eco bomb plant strat? Alright, one thing, I'm gonna go on a rant right here. Why the hell is this all flashed? I mean, does my mini-map really need to be flashed? One thing I love, alright, this is what I learned from Fallout, is send fucking 4 people here, and then you just put 1 dude here, and there's a jump flash. You can throw the CT smoke from here, and then you can throw a flash over, you just run up a little bit this way, and then you throw the flash over here, jump throw it, and you try to get it as deep as possible, and then you blind everybody on the site, and then these players jump out. The point of this, right, is what everybody should think about on these eco rounds, is that you want to be, because you're on an eco round, you saw how Chopper had that bomb out and jumped out. You want to, on these eco rounds, put yourself in a position where you're in the choke point closest to the bomb plant zone, right? You want the most minimal amount of contact. Like, let's say you come out of A ramp, you're still gonna plant here, right? So why the fuck would you take the scenic route? Why wouldn't you just jump out here? Now, one argument might be, well, what if someone's watching from here? But like, people can watch A ramp, you know? People can watch A ramp. It's still a risk. I'm even highlighting this play even though they died. But I think the point is, in terms of probability on the eco round, if you want to do an A bomb plant strategy, you should send your bomb out of palace to jump out and try to get the plant on default, because that's the least amount of time you're going to be exposed to people. And once you're down on default, the only thing you have to worry about is the triple guy, the CT guy, and if there was a default guy, the default guy. But that's why you have teammates to try to kill them while they're flashed, and you are just praying that your flashbang does a lot. But there's no guaranteed eco rounds, right? If you have a eco round that works 40% of the time, it's a fucking fantastic one. You should probably use it every time. So, you know, that's my rant. And there's other, I can use other examples. I feel like he gets a 1D just because, oh, never mind. It's counting his blessings. Doesn't even go for it. A lot of people would have stayed. And here he actually, because there was so much noise and stuff, decided to walk out. Walk back, I should say. So one good reason why you might want to, on a round like this, just continue when you've made that kind of progress is just because you don't have a lot of utility to work with. So, you know, going back to the drawing board when you have absolutely no nades means that you're most likely going to get melted. Just fast forward the round, see if they get any kills. They got nitro at least. So that is one value in taking your time on the eco rounds, even when you don't have a strategy, is maximizing the amount of times that you have to take a fight that's in your favor. Whereas if you rush, you might just get counter-naded, over-rotated on, and so on and so forth. But if you keep the bomb in one place, 4 players in all their own spots, and they all get to work their picks, you're really testing the utility usage and each individual player of the other team, which can play into your favor. It's good to see Vegas Squadron taking all these timeouts. What the fuck? They took a timeout and then decided to buy at like a really bad time. Alright, I mean, it's the thought that counts, I suppose. Maybe they have a really good plan. Let's see. Round 11 here. If all that money is accurate, 29 to 36, I mean, you don't get head armor in an AK, so... What's so appealing about buying now? I mean, you have 4 rounds. It's not the best place to be in, but I mean, if you manage your money properly, they would have spent a little bit more last round and then saved on this one, then bought the next one. Maybe did some damage prior, got this money low, got this money low, a little bit lower. Like, you force 1 rebuy, that's like all their guns, right? So your goal is to force at least 3, so you have fucking, come on. Let's go. I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, we can do this. I'm gonna take a sip of this beer. Since we have a moment to breathe. I totally forgot, you can use that to skip just past the pause, but not past the round. That's nice. That's where it's at. Alright. It's not a full A execute, because they've only got 3 people. And yeah, what if... This buy is so ass. This is weird. I don't like this buy from Vegas Squadron because, like, just based on what they know. So let's see. There's 1 player with no head armor. That's Nitro. He's got the ops. He's gonna be very far away from action. Probably. He's probably not gonna get headshotted by JR in this situation, or MIR or Chopper. UMPs are great, but they're better on CT side, right? Because you can pick how close your fight will be. On T side, you might have the fight long range, so they're not quite as good. They're still good guns, but not quite as good. Further, I guess it's better that they have utility rather than gone like AK no head armor. I like that they all made sure they got head armor, and Kashander, you know, decided to get the Galil, which is not the best weapon. But if we look at like proper guns here, we've got 1 AK2 and 3 SMGs. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So, let's see if they win. I mean, if they win, it's just proof that this is Counter-Strike, but part of me is hoping they're not. They're not going to. 3 people stacked on A, 2 walking underpass. They'd look to do like some kind of B fake, but yeah, the rotate's already in the A. They're not really falling for this right now. I don't think they get caught in the palace boost, or the window boost either. Yeah, they're kind of taking their time here. They're out of nades. They got to move. They get the free kill and connector. Oh, the triple guy is actually isolated. Nice kill for Chopper. And there's only one man left here in CT spawn, so shaped up to be not a bad round. 2-on-2 situation, and MIR gets an op frag. He picks up the op from Zeus or someone else, and that's all she wrote. They didn't deserve to win that round, okay? But Liquid earlier in their elimination match versus Avant-Garde ended up losing 3 eco rounds on their CT side, I believe. Or was it their T side? I don't know. But it was on Mirage. And that's probably because they have Zeus. Now, Zeus actually, like, you know, he pulled his weight. No doubt. He pulled his weight. But, you know, with Steel, they would have made quick work of Avant-Garde, because Avant-Garde's CT side was actually really whack. Oh, yeah, it was their CT side. They won like 3 eco rounds and then brought it to OT. I think it's good that Liquid won. I'm always rooting for the memes, you know, so I kind of was like, oh, what if Avant-Garde won? That'd be pretty funny, because no one knows Avant-Garde and they'd be Liquid. But at the end of the day, I'm also rooting for the team that I think will go farthest in the major. You know, you don't want the better team to be beat, you know, best of one on a one-off map and then go on to just get stomped, right? I think it's probably better that Liquid go farther than Avant-Garde. Even though, you know, you're almost splitting hairs with how good each team is, because they've got a stand-in. Good entry from Chopper. I took that B side clean, man. Let's see how I deal with these. It's really good there, like psychologically for Chopper to take a second after you take an initial fight and the person you're fighting is in the open, because the person who's in the open is going to be hyper focused on the next time you peek. And the longer you wait, I mean, even wait a few milliseconds, it could really make someone nervous. So it's actually, and the other thing is they don't have a way to change cover, right? If you wait a few milliseconds, it doesn't hurt you at all. They're going to be either caught running away like Twist was, or sitting in the exact same spot, which you can pre-fire, or trying to encroach on your angle, which you can, you know, again, pre-fire. So yeah, every time you catch someone who's in the open and you take the fight, make sure to play with your food. Make sure to really, really stress them out by waiting. The control is all theirs, and Chopper's kind of got like a tertiary position in some of these like early round situations, because he's either, I mean, when he's entered, he's failed at A site. Once with the AK, once with, he's also got one of those entries, the spam to the smoke with the AK. But a couple of rounds, it's not gone so hot. And right here, he's sitting back holding flanks. So what this means is not that actually that you're it doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? You can end up being this guy just because of the flow of the round, you know. It's also an anti-eco. It's a lot of things are out the door, but sometimes this means that if you're the guy who's sitting back watching flanks, like let's say you're holding the A push the entire round on the anti-eco, you're probably also going to be last alive if your team does get killed. And that means that you're actually expected to be able to clutch. And everyone's fully aware of the fact that if you're, you know, likely to be last to die because of your position, then you're also going to be put in a situation where you are going to need to clutch more, and so you want one of your better players to do that. I kind of call like the player that you want last alive your best player, because I feel like your best player should be winning your 1v1s, you know? That's how I see it. I do come, you know, as someone who's watched CSGO for so long, it's like come from the time where it's like your lurkers were clearly your superstar best players ever, and like your Get Rights, Dojas, and Happies, and you know, times have changed. But I think you should be. I think if you can, it's like if you win a 1v1 I feel like you have the whole package, right? Like you win a lot of your 1v1s, like in the way I guess I value a player, it's like on an individual basis. That's as, you know, that's as individualistically demanding as you can possibly get. So I feel like the guy who clutches the most is the player who you feel like is the best player. Like if I have a teammate who clutches all the time, more than other teammates, I'm like, I mean, this guy's the best player. Because if I have a teammate who aims really well and hits his entries, which is an important role and stuff, then I'm going to be like, all right, you know, he's the best entry. But I'm not going to be like, he's the best player. You know, it doesn't feel right. It's a pointless conversation to have anyway, though. Who the best player is, who gives a fuck. Team game. Only score that matters is the one at the top. So now, with the 5 rifles set up from Liquid, 3 on A, very standard positions. Not a lot of utility between both these teams. I mean, it looks like it, but I guess I'm thinking about utility that can hurt. And that's actually a really great sandwich Molotov. It's not a hard one to throw, but it's good awareness on Chopper's part. Also gets this next kill, so we're seeing value beyond mechanical ability from Chopper. Because he flushes one person out of his position and then catches another one off guard by not wide swinging too quickly without clearing. He was instrumental in that A take, even though he only got a single frag. And again, kind of surprised here that we're going to see 35 in total at a Chopper. In regulation, no less. Last round of the T half, and it couldn't be any closer. Chopper busting out top mid with his teammates, once again, falling passively back to the bomb. Switching to B-apps. While his teammates work the default. Minute 20 on the clock. And it seems like in the mid-round, he's in between comms, you know. It seems like people are talking and deciding things, but they aren't actually sure what they want to do. And they really were intent on assuming that JDM had pushed pretty aggressively in that situation. They were right about it. Not exactly right about where he was, but it made sure they didn't die. Some kind of cheeky push. So there he was, like, supporting, in a sense. And here he has the bomb. He's going to assist as his teammates move into A site. Very nice shot. Nitro's face has now been removed. And fully aware of jungle to make sure that he can plant safely on the A side as his teammate comes up A ramp and can tell him that Tetris is clean. Was technically exposed to underbelt without checking it, I think. But it's a 6-9 half. Hell yeah. That's not bad at all. 15-8 in total. Most kills, least deaths in the server. In some senses, like the most grand stage that they'll have all tournament. I mean, they're gonna move on to playoffs, right? And they're gonna play to win, no doubt about it. Are they gonna win the major? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. I think there's a lot of people who will end up eating their hats if Vegas Squadron win the major. A lot of pick'ems. A lot of pick'ems will be destroyed if Vegas Squadron win the major, and for good reason. It's very unlikely. And when they go in to play Virtus Pro, I think anything that they get out of the major at this point is just such a huge plus to take home with them that honestly, unless they're super hungry, like hungry, hippo hungry, then I don't think that we're gonna see the best Vega possible. I think that when things get difficult halfway through a game, you know, they're looking at the wrong end of a 6-9 half, they lose the second pistol, they're going to be thinking about, maybe we should take this moment to enjoy the fact that we got this far. But a team like Virtus Pro, that's when they turn it up to 1,000. You know what I mean? Because they're chasing a high. Virtus Pro's standards for achievement and enjoying themselves is much higher than Vegas Squadron. And if you're not extremely hungry and you don't expect way more, if you don't expect unrealistic goals for yourself as a team, when you get to the point where you've achieved more than you ever thought, but you've still got a long ways to go, you're not going to go that extra mile and try and focus on every single engagement and understand that if you win this, you could actually have a chance to make it all the way. You won't. So in some senses, this is the best version of Vegas Squadron that we'll see, the most pressured version of Vegas Squadron that we'll see. And Chopper's out here performing. And what a couple of frags those were. I mean, has anybody ever regretted a CT push more than Liquid did with that one just now? Probably not. I mean, probably, but maybe not. I don't know. I think all Liquid are thinking that I wish we didn't push CT in that situation. Do they win the retake? I mean, can MIR do it? I feel like he can. I don't know why. He did it. He has a kit. 10-second music didn't even come on till after that. Jesus Christ. That's a huge reason they're going to win too. They're actually going to look now at a fairly lackluster CT side because this does come so close, but they get 6 rounds. So it's worth talking about. I feel like those kills were, I'm not going to say lucky, alright? I'm not going to use that word. I don't believe in luck. But I will say they were probably a little fortunate. Okay, I don't know how you define words, all right? And if the way you define words conflicts with the way that I use fortunate, in the sense that it might almost be synonymous with lucky, you can take it up with my lawyer, all right? I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. He was fortunate, but he wasn't lucky. Anyways, Chopper hitting heads all day today. And they are going to Boston. That's pretty fucking awesome. That's pretty fucking awesome. Both teams here going to Boston. Liquid actually qualified too, which is great. Alright, so let's see how he responds to the anti-eco. They fall back into CT, playing it safe. They can let the bomb go down, it's fine. They just have to trust themselves to be able to retake. Very standard practice for CTs. TT side has been sound. That was a great spray transfer from Chopper. Could have easily fucked that up if he had even taken a second more. Would have died. Lost CT control. Forfeited a M4, an M4, and also the man advantage. Maybe it would have made the death a little bit less painful. Maybe it would have made that round a little bit easier to stomach. Maybe if they had just lost that round earlier, they could have looked forward to. Oh, they're actually force buying. Let's see. So they lost the last round, and they also, it's versus 3 alive. I would say, you know, you're in the territory of maybe we don't counter force because we're winning, because we only killed 2 of their players last round. They got a ball plan as well. They have lots of money. It's 3 AKs out here. But look at that. They got a couple of dinks already. So Chopper also gets killed on his palace push. Big amount of information gained from Liquid. Man advantage once again retained. But players are fucking hurt out here. And when I tell you guys about going mid on anti-ecos, I mean, I don't think this round is over. I don't think this round is over by any means. I mean, I'm going to hang out and watch. I hate when people go all the way. Okay, this I don't mind. Taking control of it, but then falling off, that's fine. Because you stay top boxes, you maintain those long angles. But right when you get to here, MIR actually gets killed. Right when you get to here, hold on. Shit's going to go down. But if you stay top boxes and you fight and you can hide at the top boxes, you're great. Right? You can fight anyone who pushes out, and they got the dinky little stupid ass pistol, and they shoot you from far away, and it dinks you for 60 damage, and they rage in their team speak or whatever. But if you come down to here, this line, then all these people in connector have these little tight peaks that they can get on you. I'm fucking drawing Chinese characters because this shit sucks. But anybody who pushes into past ladder room, you know, pistols are very effective. People can jump out a window and be really annoying. There's a lot of things that can happen to you once you, as a terrorist, have reached this point on CAD or this point at lower mid. Like, you can get shot the fuck up. But if you fight from back here, take the free fights and then fall back, I like it. So this is actually an eco that I think is the best eco, is to fight top mid and then come back. They might have taken a little bit too much damage early on though, is the thing. Probably a couple of nice shots were hit. So let's see what happens. Oh my god, I think this is the one where PUBG goes insane. No, I didn't actually watch this map show. I don't know. No, it's a different match. MIR gets killed on the flank. Alright, they're looking alright. There should be no reason that this round is lost, right? Yeah. Oh my god. Uh-oh. I mean, Zeus isn't in the best spot ever. Oh, okay. That could have got hairy, especially if there was a kid on the board, because Zeus is not in the most favorable position, but Hutchie had taken enough damage that it was alright. Nothing to worry about. Close call, but I feel like that's the kind of anti-eco that if you lose, like if Liquid lost that, then it's like hard to blame them because they took like dinks early in the round, even though they played pretty safe angles. It's a point and clicking adventure, you know? Sometimes pistols will win just because somebody has insane aim. They can get lucky, and I don't think you can play an anti-eco perfectly and win 100% of the time. Sometimes you will lose. You can always change what you did, but I feel like when you do go into those theoreticals of, oh, we could have changed this one thing, I think it's only fair if you also give the other guy a chess move as well, you know? I think it's only fair if you go, all right, well, we changed this one peak, then the whole round changes. Well, I think that, like, if you're freezing time and then moving your one piece to make sure that the things go as planned, well, I think it's only fair to give the other team a move too and say, well, what if you added this variable, right? And that's why it's important to not think about that stuff too much, because you never know what would happen if you change something, right? You might end up being your own grandmother. Chopper is going to be rifling window. JDM has an op in Palace. And it's become non-standard to end up opping window. What the fuck is that from Liquid? That's going to cause a hysteric rotates over to A. Why did Twist have the bomb and walk up A alone? That's so bad by either his teammates or if he forgot, or like, first of all, you don't want to give people a tell that early, right? You're giving everybody a lead off, right? This is a friggin' this is a what the fuck is that called? Not pylon, baton, decathlon. You're handing off the. Oh my god, my fucking brain, dude. What is that word? It's gonna kill me. It's you're handed, you know, the little fucking stick that you hand to people in a race where you have to catch the other guy and you do the lead off, or you run and you hand him the dildo, and then he runs ahead and then hands it to the next guy. Oh my god, you guys are gonna roast me in the comments. All right, doesn't matter. 2 players left from Liquid, but yeah, it does matter. We're gonna talk about why. God, I keep thinking baton. Oh shit! No way. Does Nitro actually win this? It's the full 10 seconds too, and he has to reload. Oh my god. You know what? And like, you can go back in the game and say, oh, what if we just didn't get anti-eco in the beginning of the match, right? It wouldn't have been 16-14 for them. It would have been but then you go back to that round and you think, well, but what if Nitro didn't 1v3 in a very unlikely situation, right? You got to give the other team a chess move too. What the fuck is that? Baton, race, handoff. What the hell is it called? Relay. Relay. Yes, it is a baton. Relay. Okay. Right. So what they did there was they came up A site, and then because they showed the bomb right away, it allowed Vega Squadron to rotate into A a lot faster than they should have. to hand the baton over faster than they should have been able to. Another anti-eco towards B. Love the anti-eco towards B because like a lot of people don't stack, right? A lot of people don't stack B on anti-ecos. And then you're kind of up here, and yeah, it looks like limited in terms of where you can get out. But it's also limited in terms of good spots the CTs can stand in, right? If they're, if it's a rush, you're not gonna be able to get up here. Sometimes people can do here, but you can just throw a running Molotov, right? You need to throw running nades, obviously. There's one spot here, which is your classic peek that you can take from Palace or from B apps, easy. And then everything else is you just have to. People are really scared about under the window. But if you come out wide and you fight and they haven't taken all, and they decide to peek and there's 5 people, you're going to see some CTs from up here. And you can molly out the spots that are immediate threats. And then from there, just kind of explode into the site. So I think it's actually a really good anti-eco, even though it doesn't seem like one, to actually just hit B really hard. Sorry, this video is kind of a mess at this point. We're here to watch Chopper and explain why it is that he got 35 kills. And I gotta say, we've seen that he's like hitting shots and he's doing stuff, but it's been pretty standard. He hasn't gotten too many multi-frags. It's not like he's had insane clutch rounds so far. I think there's still more to come. So people were also talking about it wasn't a quiet 35 frags, right? People were talking about it. People were like, "Wow, Chopper's fucking insane." So I think we're gonna find out why in these last few rounds of the game. I'm sorry I wasted all your time just to fucking figure out that that was called a relay. I think I knew that, but it just didn't sound right. Okay. Well, Chopper's moving from under Balk. He's migrated himself to the default position, and it's unclear what he's thinking about doing. His teammate is actually leaving the A site, which I don't really like, but he's safe. Relatively safe from A ramp. Is going to take some one-on-ones. That's an important duel to win. He kind of let his teammate get really far away. Yeah. Was that the best round ever? No, it really wasn't. He wasn't in that great of a spot. I didn't like that his teammate left, which can happen, but I don't like when if you're playing dedicated, which to me, in my definition of the word dedicated, means you're playing within where smokes would land, right? So you're playing here, you're playing here, you're playing here. And then, just anything that's within where smokes would land is like, it's looking like a dick. All right. Just all of this, right, is daddy. Now, if your teammate was here and you were here, well, you're both within where the smokes land. So that means that you guys can keep each other alive, fight, and so on and so forth. But when your teammate leaves and you're just dedicated by yourself, I feel like that's like a waste of a teammate. And sometimes it calls for it. I think in that situation, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. It was hard to say. It does happen a lot. But I really don't like when one person is dedicated, because especially not on A side on Mirage, because you could have just played retake 5v5. Mollied out everything. Used the Bardolph Molotovs for triple and default. Thrown nades in. Kept that person alive. And then just tried to run their smokes dry and everything. Alright, so they lose mid control. They go for the Palace control in response. And that's important, right? If you get pushed, right? Just think about it getting pushed. If you get pushed in the middle, then you get squeezed out. Alright? Then you get squeezed out. You have to go for map control on other parts of the map to try to balance out the fact that you're getting pushed out, all right? That's how all 3-lane maps should be thought of in terms of responding to map control. And the reason is because it's not an invisible hand pushing you out, right? It's a dedicated amount of people. It's 3 people. Okay, good retake. It's 3 people. So if teams take mid control 1 person, you fight him. If teams take mid control 3 people, maybe you don't fight him. Maybe it's just too many dudes. Right? It's too many dudes at once. Maybe you can only handle 1 dude at once. So if there's 3 dudes here, quick maths, how many dudes are left? 1, 2. And this guy is maybe A ramp or maybe Palace. So what do you do with CTs? You got 2 people here, right? You go, we don't want to fight mid, but we also don't want to give up too much map control. Why don't we go together and push halls? And then I'll leave you in halls. We'll either kill the guy or find out no one's there, maintain halls control, and then have rotates come from B to CT. You can have one person here, and then let's say the squeeze comes in, right? And then they decide to go A, and they don't go through Palace. They send a couple A ramp, which happens a lot, and then they come up, and they're all up in the site. Guys right here. This guy's totally safe. This guy's totally safe. And guess what? He has a fantastic angle to peek into the A whenever he wants and help his teammates fight versus players who think that they're safe. Don't give up anything for free, okay? In Counter-Strike or life. So what happens now, Chopper? You've got to really turn up here, buddy. Liquid, you guys are up 9-6 on the half. I mean, that's solid, and you guys just really, you want this map so that you can go to the major, the real major. Okay, close A ramp, a position that's pretty good if you're good at this angle, which is actually a really hard angle, and also if you've got the utility, like the smoke helps a lot. And you got destroyed. It usually works really well if, well, it doesn't work really well necessarily, but it can work well if you have a, okay. Being alone in the site, he doesn't want to be close to A ramp. But in that situation, his smoke was still up. So you can see that from there, with the smoke bloomed, that he was here waiting and that he was about to leave and probably go back to under balk or back to default. But Twist executed through the smoke. Now, if Twist executes through the smoke and he dodges the flash, he should win the fight. But Twist is insane. So he actually didn't do anything too bad there. I think the only thing that could be said is that because he was the only person alive, or only person at A, it was maybe irresponsible for him to put himself in a position where he could die that early without his teammates rotating in. It's not the end of the world to die if you have to retake A, but it is to lose the man advantage and then have to retake. So, you know, maybe his teammates should have been with him. Maybe Twist got a little lucky there, and he never wins that fight twice versus Chopper because Chopper's really good at angle. We don't know. Excellent damage dealt. 2 kills finished. Trade finally comes out, but he's done his job. Oh wow, everyone gets destroyed. Great damage on the ecos. It's actually really important. I think one of the reasons that FaZe win a lot of rounds, they had one game so dominantly, is because if they ever had to eco, it wouldn't be an easy eco to win. It wouldn't be an easy anti-eco for the other team to win. They would always do tons of damage. I mean, every kill that comes out on these eco rounds, it's $5,000, $5,000, $5,000. There's a huge dent in your economy when you think on some rounds, you've only got like 10,000, well, you've only got like, you know, 15 to 20,000 total, right? It's in terms of rebuys, that's one every time you kill someone, and that's rollover dollars. It's the economy that follows you throughout the half. So every kill you get is actually very, very important. And to do it on the eco rounds when you're saving is huge. It limits the amount of times that your opponents can rebuy, the amount of times that, like, the amount of rounds they can play in a row. Like, you'll never see a team versus FaZe be able to buy 3 times in a row because FaZe are always chipping away at them, and that's huge. It's something you don't really notice unless you go back and look, because as the match is unfolding, it's not quite as relevant until you realize, until it's all said and done.
Go, go, go.
Unfortunate for Liquid to lose a round like that. Very unfortunate. So it's actually more unfortunate that people's pick'ems were 90% Liquid and 10% Vega, but it's not surprising that they were. A few good anti-eco kills right here. Seems like Chopper has had a lot of success either killing ecoing players or being on an eco and killing players. Maybe MIR is the MIR of Russia.
Throwing flashbang. Throwing a grenade. I'm throwing flashbang. Laying down smoke.
But he's definitely not played badly, and that's not what I'm trying to say. He's done good. He's done good.
Throwing smoke.
And the HSP, it's up there, which is it's not a critically important stat, but it is a nice one to see, to be able to tell how efficient someone was with a rifle. So look at their HSP. Okay. So the adjustment here is that they're gamble stacking B. A couple of benefits of gamble stacking B is, number one, if you think a team goes B a lot, well, here you can have 2 dedicated players, which means you can actually have a good chance of holding without having to retake period. The other thing is that if you have to go back to A is much more retakeable. You're still probably not going to win, but if you hold on to your utility and everyone stays alive and you get some spam damage off and stuff like that, then there's a world in which having to retake on A is not the worst case in the world. But obviously, if you're Chopper or the other player in B, Hut G, you're going to think, oh, fuck, I wish I was still there to fight. Chandra ends up going 1 for 1. It's a very unlikely situation here. The Chopper is going to be able to win this round for his team. But what a nice shot on a liege to make me eat my words. 2 players up. They're both at A ramp and 1 is low. So suddenly the tables have turned. Hut G could really blow this for Chopper if he makes a careless peek, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Now, a lot of angles have been cleared out, and these 2 players at A ramp are almost certainly going to get called out. Hut G gets flashed off his angle, can't protect his teammate, and now it's unlikely he can win the round. Very good round from Liquid. That flash is what made Hut G fuck off and put Chopper in a very precarious predicament. It's a banger of a match that we've got going on here. No, that wasn't a pun. Because we don't say bangers and mash in America. Okay, we say whatever and potatoes. I don't even know what banger. Oh, sausage and potatoes. I wonder if you can abuse the smoke at all. That's one thing that's also nice is it's been somewhat dynamic. I like it. He's not just always sitting in the same spot. Every round, Molotov goes out. I think that's one of those Molotovs where you go, was that worth $600? You know? Did that make sense for the money? But he wanted to let his presence be known, and there's value in that. Chandra actually shoots into the smoke to make it seem as if there isn't anybody actually in the window, but more worried about a jump up. Meanwhile, Chopper's here, ready to spring. Fantastic spray. That was not easy as Twist jumped up into the left, and the round's now over. 14 to 14. Ooh, Lord. Another cool thing is that we had first 15 kills in the first half, 16 in the second half. It's very well balanced. I mean, Scream in that game earlier, and I'm not faulting or making Scream, trying to make Scream look bad at all, but he had like over 20 kills in the first half, and then ended out the game with 28 kills, and the other team won. You know, so that happens a lot. I'm not, not trying to put negative attention on Scream whatsoever. That definitely happens a lot for a multitude of reasons. And in that game, they had to play with Malik, poor motherfucker, coach of Envy. He's never played a professional match in his life. But Chopper here has been good on both halves, which is huge. Good on both halves. All right, triple. Not the best spot to be in, but it is another anti-eco, and he really likes that angle a lot. Sprayed down with love. Fantastic. 4K. And I think that is, now it's kind of become apparent to me why he's looked like such a highlight player in this match, because there's a cast going on. If you see your kill feed light up with a whole bunch of people dying to the same guy in quick succession like that, and the first kill hasn't faded away by the time the 4th kill comes in, it looks like, wow, this guy is really something. And then you go, holy shit, let's take a look at how many kills he has. Whoa, 35 frags. My God, man, look out for this guy. But for us who have watched the demo, I mean, it's been a couple of rounds where he hasn't actually come through. A couple of good entries. All in all, he's just been good. Like, he's just been solid. It doesn't feel like 35 kill, insane highlight video solid, but he's been solid. Very good player for sure. But even positionally and everything, it's nothing too interesting can be said, I think, about choppers so far. There are certain players like I don't care what anybody says about Stewie. I can watch pretty much any match from Stewie, any of his demos, and just come up with millions of things to say. Fallen's one of those guys, like every time he does something, it's like this. It almost feels like a revolutionary decision almost every time. Rops was another kid who was sitting his demos, and it was just like fucking fantastic, creative decision after decision, swag. You know, another guy that I personally study a lot. There you have it. Chopper with the Quiet 35. Fantastic 4K spray downs on the A site. Couple of good, clean headshots on rounds that were very important, and decent retake kills. Now you see that my fucking rank has gone down to Legendary Eagle, the lowest it's been in 4 years. I really do not play Counter-Strike enough anymore. Yeah, that's it, man. So is Chopper the MIR of Russia? I don't know. I think MIR might be the MIR of Russia, but a great player nonetheless. And I'm looking forward to seeing them in Boston. And to all you out there on YouTube, thank you for watching, and we'll keep more YouTube content coming if that's what you want to see. Goodbye.